Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to dive into the Dungeon Master's Guide. We're going to take a look at a really deceptively good magic item, the Decanter of Endless Water. This guy you got to be careful with. It can literally and figuratively unbalance your campaign if given too early. So we're going to take a deep look at that, and we're also going to take a look at a source of the influence of D&D in pop culture in the early 80s, and I'm going to show an example of that, just a brief one, about how pervasive D&D actually became in other forms of media during the early 80s. Also, a quick reminder, please subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any friends who are on the fence, please push them off. Have them come join us. Also, take a look at the Patreon, see if you can help the channel grow that way. I still want to get a new background even for my D&D stuff now, and I certainly want one for travelers, so any help you can give there would be greatly appreciated. But back to the important stuff. Today, the Decanter of Endless Water from the Dungeon Master's Guide on page 121. I said at the top that I was going to show an example of how pervasive D&D became in the early 80s. This issue is number 284 of the Legion of Superheroes, a DC comic book, from February of 82, which means it was published, because of the way they did publishing then, it was published in about November of 81. And in it, we see the Legion of Superheroes, I'll zoom in on the panel, are playing Dungeons and Dragons. And it is called Dungeons and Dragons. This was a common gag for the Legion for the next couple of years. We would see them every few issues, we would see them having a game of D&D. It was always in some kind of hollow tank or something. But the idea, and the Legion, if you're not familiar, the Legion takes place 1,000 years in Earth's future. So 2982, I think this issue is set. Instead of 1982 when it was published, they were always 1,000 years ahead, so they're in the far future. And that in their universe, D&D is still alive and thriving, and the Legion of Superheroes, when they get a moment, they go ahead and they take a break and they play some D&D. That was how pervasive D&D became. Movies like E.T., which was out in 81, or 82 rather, we have them playing D&D. It was just a heck of a thing. The other thing I wanted to show, just for fun, is an old Atari ad that was the centerfold of this issue. Nothing can save you from Atari, the most exciting games in the galaxy. I loved Atari. And Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew. Issue 1 was coming out on Christmas Eve. So there you have it. That's from Legion of Superheroes, number 284, published in November of 1981, just in time for Christmas. We got to see the Legion play Dungeons and Dragons. And now, enough of that, we'll talk about actual Dungeons and Dragons. So here we are, D&D. We're going to take a look at the Decanter of Endless Water. I took my bookmark out. No, but there. Okay, the Decanter of Endless Water. It's a short entry, but there's a lot to talk about. Let me get it in the shot here. Okay, Decanter of Endless Water. This flask is quite ordinary looking, but if magic is detected for, it will radiate that property. The decanter has a stopper, and if the stopper is removed and the proper words spoken, it will pour forth a stream of fresh or salt water as ordered. There are separate command words for the amount of as well as the type of water. Water can be made to come forth as follows. A stream pours out 1 gallon per round, 1 gallon a minute. That's not that much. As a fountain, 5 feet long stream at 5 gallons per round, and a geyser, 20-foot long stream of 30 gallons per round. The last application causes considerable back pressure, and the holder must be well braced or be knocked over. The force of the geyser will kill small animals and insects, mice, moles, small bats, etc. The command word must be given to cease. So, not much here until you actually start looking at it. The decanter itself gives you endless supply of fresh or salt water. I have ruled at my table that it's an actual small portal to the elemental plane of water, and it can be either salt or fresh water as the user commands. The stream pours out 1 gallon per round. You never really need to worry about fresh water. There it is. The fountain, 5-foot long stream for 5 gallons per round. You could water many animals, fill a trough, and even one use I had for a desert, and I'll get into that in a moment. And then the geyser. This is the one that can unbalance things. It's a 30 or 20-foot long stream at 30 gallons per round. When used against, I don't know, say orcs coming down a hallway, this can actually be pretty powerful. It only goes out 20 feet, but it'll still put the orc on his tuchus if he's not ready for it. And he's got to be ready, or you've got to be braced, or you get knocked the other way because physics. I love this magic item, but don't give it out early. I think the earliest I ever gave one of these out was about 4th level, and I regretted that because that became most encounters. It also got to a point where they're always trying to smash doors open using the force of the geyser. It became a headache, and it became a dominant theme in the campaign for the next 3 or 4 levels. I learned my lesson. I don't give this item out till 6th, 7th, 8th level now. I don't want it to be the be-all and end-all focus of my game. That being said, I did a game years ago where the characters were in the desert. Paynims? Not the Paynims. I forget. In Ket, I think. But they were in a desert area with very arid area, low water. And they came across an oasis, a well, and were very happy to find that the well was fresh. All the water was fresh and cool and refreshing and just delightful. And throughout the course of the adventure, they came to find that the reason for that was long, long ago, someone had taken a decanter of endless water, put it on stream for pouring out 1 gallon per round, and then just left. And I thought this was kind of neat. It's a magical way to have an oasis thrive in the middle of a completely arid area where there's no real water table that anybody could reach. Yet this well, which once had water, is now literally at times overflowing with water, and this is a very lush oasis. And I gave some clues about the stones were damp and things like that. And if enough creatures came and took water from this well at 1 gallon per minute, 60 gallons an hour, that's a lot of water, but I had it that it was a pretty deep well. So it was just an interesting thing I did. I didn't dwell on a ton of the facts that somebody would figure out and go down there, but I did have somebody in the group who had a Helm of Underwater Action, and he decided that there was something not going on. The parts of the well radiated magic, so he said, the heck with it, I'm going to go down there and try to find out what's going on. And he found the decanter of endless water all the way at the bottom of the well. Ultimately, the players did the right thing, and they decided to leave the decanter, since they didn't have any of the command words anyway. They decided to leave the decanter at the bottom of the well and let it continue to serve the purpose that some long ago adventurer had set it for. Just one of my odder uses for a decanter of endless water, something I really enjoyed in the campaign, and something that was quite a head scratcher for my players for a little bit of that game. But that's all I've got to say about the Decanter of Endless Water. I recommend it, but I recommend it at moderate levels. Don't let it become the dynamic focus of your campaign, because it can be. And at lower levels, you don't need them knocking everything over with a stream of water. It's more fun to have traditional stuff going on, just how I feel. But that's all I've got today on page 121. I hope you enjoyed what you heard and saw. I hope you enjoyed the sneak peek at a very old comic book from 1981, and how pervasive D&D was getting in 81 through like 83. A lot of our entertainment stuff saw some nod to D&D of some kind. But that's all I've got today for page 121. I thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.